Welcome to the Oddfrog Chop Shop, your one-stop podcast for all things toy, design, collectible, comic book, video game, movies, pop culture, and more. And now please welcome your hosts, Kelly Greenwood and Eddie Hermosillo.
Yeah. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Oddfrog Chop Shop. I don't know where we're at, what episode it is, maybe 4, 5, 6, but
10, I think.
10. We'll put that in post.
I think it's season 2, episode 10.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So we're back. Mikey, Kelly, and myself, Eddie, are here chopping it up with some latest news in the toy biz. You know, the Barbie movie, Hasbro stuff, McFarlane. Little update on the Chop Shop and Oddfrog Entertainment. But yeah, you can catch all that, all our updates on our social media stuff. We're trying to keep up again, jumping back on that train. But yeah, what's up, guys? How you been? How's the last week been, man? What you guys been up to?
Mikey, shoot.
Oh man, I've been grinding on the day job and writing more material. I tried some stand-up recently, and I'm ready to get back out there and try it again.
Yeah, tell everybody about the stand-up, Mikey.
I just got a wild bug up my ass to get up and do some stand-up, and I've been writing for a couple months now, and it's been, my wife was like, why do you want to do this? And I'm like, I don't know, I just miss performing, I used to do acting, and, so many different comedians say, just get up there and try it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's exactly what I did, and I didn't totally bomb. I didn't do great, but I didn't do bad. So I want to get back up there and try it again. So I have another, 5 minutes ready to go.
Material.
That's what they usually give you, about 5 minutes. So, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
That's perfect. I think that's the thing most people don't do is they get up there one time and they're like, oh, that was,
I bombed. I can't do it
again.
I'm
not going back.
It's like same thing, man. Imagine you did that when you were a kid. You got on your bike, you fell off, and you're like, I'm done. I'm not getting back on that bike.
Yeah.
And I think everybody bombs at some point, and
for sure.
But where I went, it's called the Shanghai Room in North Seattle, and I got to tell you, like, everyone there is so supportive of just getting up there. Like, the fact that anyone gets up there, you got to, and the host is great, the venue is awesome, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying it again.
There's another toy guy out there. It's right when you were doing this. It's like it's one of those moments where you feel like YouTube's kind of reading your mind or whatever. But like you were going to do this whole stand-up thing, Mikey, and then one of the guys that we follow and that follows us has a YouTube channel, the Sunny Channel, guys. He's
Sunny Castillo.
Sunny's got good math going on. But his comedian, oh my God, I was blown away.
Dude,
how funny it was.
I think he was in Idiocracy, I want to say, or I think I've seen him mention it or something. I don't know. I think that's how, I think he might have been. I don't know. I think I've seen him mention it, or like he's made references to it multiple times. I've seen, he might have been in the background. He might have been, I don't know, but something is like, I don't know why I'm thinking about that.
He had a short that popped up on my recommended or whatever, right when Mikey was contemplating even starting this whole thing, and it was hilarious.
I'll check him out,
dude,
for sure.
Mikey, you gotta see it. It was one of those things where he tells a little bit of a thing, and then he just like pauses and looks out at the audience, and people like this kind of slow rolling laughter start. It was hilarious, like really funny. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
no, I definitely got a few laughs. Of course, I wanted more, but I got a few laughs, so I was like, okay, I'm doing some of this right. So definitely gave me an opportunity to, figure out what kind of works, what kind of doesn't. And I've only done it once, so I'm not going to be outstanding to start, but I think I might be heading back there tonight. So I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Absolutely. And Mikey, if you want to share anything on the channel and stuff, like, please do. That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe I will. What about you, Kel? What have you been up to?
Mostly just nose to the grindstone. As some of you guys know, I work at the college that Eddie and I went to, and I work in the rapid prototyping.
And for those of you who don't, that's Otis College of Art and Design here in LAX. Check it out.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's a wonderful place. Like I'm really a relatively happy guy at this point in my life, right? But going to Otis every day to like work, it's like it's an extra little spice on the day. Like I love being there, and I've worked for myself for most of my life, so it's kind of weird to think that I have this job that I really really love, but I do. I totally do. It's really fun. The people I work with are fun, and I have all this equipment, and so I've got access to all these programs again. We have ZBrush, and so I'm kind of juggling my time between. At work, I'm juggling my time between the motorcycle that we're doing for Big Fella, which was on the last podcast, guys, and
let me take a peek at that soon.
And doing the action figure, which I really want to show people. I feel like it's looking really good. It's been a whole process doing this guy, but I think once I get the articulation kind of wired, it's like game on, right, for making this. And
I think once we get that body. And we talk to that. Like I think you make a valid point. We should try the articulation. Definitely do it our way. But if we reach out to that one guy I've talked to you about, dude, I mean, I don't mind, dude. I think he can definitely be a valuable asset. Give us some pointers.
Sure. And I think his price point is
beyond
right
reasonable.
For stuff like
yes,
that. Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Bro.
But like for me.
You just want to learn it and learn how to do it. I want to know
what it
sure.
is.
I do too, man. Yeah.
And for me too, part of it is, Eddie. Like, well, and you're saying just the articulation, so that's great.
Right. I'm just saying, just to get our scope down, just to get it, like, bam, get that sample quick.
We're not going to be doing it ourselves forever, anyways, right? If once we get this going, so I'm totally open to that. I'm just also like you, like I just want to know.
You want to get in ZBrush and know how to.
I want
for sure.
At least this first few ones we do, I want to have our signature on it as much as possible.
Yeah, like produced by us, all of it. Yeah, I get it. And then that's why we were just talking about, like, aside from the Oddfrog character, we're going to start working on the Jones Bones character, like really narrow down the story. Kelly just mentioned coming up with some concept designs.
I've got the story. Yeah.
So it's like. On that. Well, narrowing it down, putting it on paper, we're gonna pencil in some what would you call them? Some frames of a comic maybe, and then Kelly being the artist he is, I'm gonna let his little demented brain, come up with some zombie, because Jones Bones again, he was human, and then he started decomposing, and he basically comes back to life with that serum, so he's got to be like kind of zombies. It's gonna be gnarly, guys. It's gonna be gnarly.
It's everything that I love about pop culture is in here somehow. And it's like afterwards I'm thinking about all the elements that are in it. It's like, oh, this is like, I mean, I thought about it when I was writing too, but there's a little bit of 2001, there's a little bit of Ninja Turtles, there's a little bit of Spider-Man, there's a little bit of everything. Everything that I love is kind of packed into this. And then Eddie comes along with these other characters and kind of this other dimension that it's like, oh, well, we're Oddfrog now. We have to, let's blend our worlds together. And the exciting thing for me is I basically have the next story completely worked out. We're going to start out with the Bandito and Jones Bones as the owner of or previous owner and once again owner, I guess I should say, because we're going to murder him and then we're going to bring him back to life. So it should be a pretty good origin story. I'm really excited about it. I am 5 pages away from being done penciling our first iteration of the comic book. And you know what? Here's a question I have, guys. And we'll put this out to the community too and just see what people think, because I don't know why I'm concerned about this. Maybe it's ridiculous. So there's a comic book out there called Cyberfrog, and it's been around since the 90s. I have #1 sitting right there.
Yeah.
My story, or our story, just happens to be about a frog as well. The stories are completely different. But it's the Oddfrog is what I want our story to be called. And he's got Cyberfrog. And it's like, I don't want to think too big-headed or anything, we ever even be on their radar or anything like that. But I'm also kind of anticipating, are people going to make these comparisons and be like, I already get.
I think now that you mentioned it,
yeah.
But Oddfrog isn't cybernetic. There's a cybernetic aspect, but that's definitely what's his name?
Well, and he's got. I think there's alien aspects to his thing too. I don't follow the whole entire story. I have the first one because I thought it was such a great idea when I was in the 90s when I originally got it. But it
Man, I
literally
will.
is like, it just happens to be a frog. And there's other Marvel characters that are frogs. There's Frogmonger from He-Man, which I love. But, it's just something I think about because we're at a point where we could go any direction with the name of the actual story and not make it so frog-centered. And it's named, our company is essentially named after this character. So it's like, how much do I want to kind
I
of
think
go
you
into
might
that
be
or whatever?
overthinking it, honestly.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was wondering.
It's really, it boils down to intent. And the fact is, you created this character, back in high school?
Well, my early college, the first attempt at art school back in the day.
Right, but do you still have your clay rendering of the Oddfrog?
Yeah, Sculpey, Super Sculpey,
That's the first one I remember seeing, and that was...
I still have the original drawings I did of him for...
What was that, 20 years ago, or pushing 20 years ago now?
It would have been 97 or 98 that I did that.
Okay, no, it was, early 2000s that I saw it.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
So you've been creating this character for years.
A long time.
I wouldn't think... it's completely original.
The story
the only
is
common
nothing
denominator is it's a frog.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the only thing. So I just, it's maybe I'm just too close to it at this point. Like my head is leading up to what you were asking earlier, Mikey. Is I've been doing the action figure, Big Fella's bike, and when I come home at night, I try to do as much as I can on the comic book, and then on weekends it's comic book. That's what I'm doing as soon as we're done here. So,
how about you, Eddie? What are you up to, man?
I've been working a lot. I've been working a lot at restaurants, so I work 5 nights a week. It is summer. The kids are home. They're with me throughout the days, except weekends, except like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. They go with their mom. But yeah, just working, juggling the kids, and trying to get back into ZBrush and I feel bad not having my hands in the mix with Oddfrog as much as before, but like we all, life sometimes takes priority in other aspects, but getting relationships going, getting my life together, sometimes takes priority, and my life has been on the back burner for quite some time, so it's time to focus on me. But I'm definitely...
I think it's a good time for all of that because at the same time, I happen to be in a point where I can focus,
dedicate so much time.
On it. Yeah, like literally 8
like
hours
you don't
a
have
day
to
at work,
go
I'm
and
doing
stop
Oddfrog.
and work on something else. Yeah. You get paid to be there and just do ZBrush. Being at Otis was definitely a blessing for Oddfrog, and you know what I'm saying. So
yeah.
But send me. I don't know, man. I need to get back to school. I miss being in ZBrush. So like right before we started shooting, we were talking about Kelly's gonna come up with some concepts for the body of Jones Bones. We want to come up with our own body. I have the head already. I'm gonna start messing with it in ZBrush again. Now that we have the subscription, maybe start printing some more heads. Want to rework the articulated jaw, the hinges, and I like the way Mesco has done their Doc Knock hinge. My hinge was more so on the outside, like the hinges, pronged like this. Mesco has the prongs on the inside. That's kind of cool, but we'll see what works better. I like the way I have the Jones Bones has a little bullet hole in his skull. That's kind of cool. Just adding some more details
into the story in the next episode of Oddfrog.
Like there's so many skull characters out right now. Ghost Rider and Mesco has a variety of skull characters, but none of them have a bullet hole right through the skull. I mean, that's gonna put that apart.
And it's there for a reason.
Yeah, it's not just there; it's part of the story. Yeah,
it's exactly. And we find I want to share this so bad, and I should probably just shut up. I'm probably gonna have to send Axion Figs like a bunch of images this week, so I can just not share things.
About what?
I want to share what we're working on so much because I think it's supporting material for the Bandito and the world we're creating, and there's like a major expansion to our little universe coming, and it's like I want to share stuff. But yeah.
I was trying to see if I could Go ahead, go, Mikey.
Oh, I was
Who's
gonna
play?
say big things are brewing.
Yeah,
They
odd
are
things
brewing.
brewing. Yeah, I could, I suppose, share the penciled page of Oddfrog's origin that I shared with you guys.
Oh yeah, that is gnarly. Yeah, I mean, guys,
Yeah, yeah.
when you start seeing some of Kelly's artwork, man, I wish you would share more of it. Like, it,
Mhm.
it it's comparable to some of like the top dogs right now. In my opinion, I've seen some of his work. I'm not no expert, I'm not a comic book whiz, but when you see good art, good art, good
Yeah,
line work, good. I
absolutely.
mean, the contrast, the way you pick up negative space, the way you use black shapes, the way I mean, it's I McFarlane comparable. I always compare it to kind of like McFarlane style. So I don't know.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
put
guys.
some up, and it's talk about it,
All right,
man.
well,
Show
let's
it.
take a look because, like, I'm getting to the end of the story now, right? And I had
Mm-hmm.
his origin written in a certain way where he becomes the frog by touching a frog that's in the.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you guys a little bit of build up to what I'm going to show here. But like in the original iteration that I have in the script, he's saying he's picking up the frog and touching him, and he does an experiment on him with the vitamin 1 serum, which is this nano kind of mutagen, basically. But what is cool about the nano side of it is that we'll be able to kind of take a deep dive on the science of the mutagen as opposed to being this mystical thing. We can talk about it. We can show blood cells. We can show little robots. Like I feel like that's an interesting element of the story. But the original part was he had just touched the frog, and then he gets injected with the serum by the AI system, Carl, in the building.
There you go. That's what I was
And
trying to think of earlier. Carl.
yeah, Carl. He's kind of the HAL 9000 of our story here.
Yeah.
And he is the ultimate villain at one point, and we reveal that in the first book. But I changed the ending slightly, or at least I changed his origin slightly because I mean, I love stuff like One Punch Man. I love like the influence of Japanese anime and manga on our culture, and they have such a different approach to things that I wanted to weird it up a little bit more. So instead, I'd still have the whole thing where we show the frog get injected because they're doing an experiment, and there's probably a thing with the frog's skin that makes it absorb faster or whatever. We can dive in onto that if we want to later. But the main thing is we show the frog, he
Holes
gets
in the arrow,
injected.
dart frogs.
Yeah, and that would be cool too because they have such cool coloring and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, and he's not. That's the other thing about this too is he's not a legit frog. Like he's kind of half human or at least partially human or whatever. He's not like a frog. He's this weird creature. So, anyways, I added this scene where he wakes up because he's finished his magnum opus. Right, he's completed this serum that's going to make the world a better place. And he kind of collapses from exhaustion, and the computer takes over to do all the little minor details. While he's out, the computer, who wants to evolve itself, takes over the algorithm and puts this other thing into the serum that kind of makes everything go haywire, right? Okay. So when he wakes up, we can see that the serum in the big science vats has changed color, or there's a different consistency to it if we can only do black and white for the first run. So he wakes up. He sees something is different. He's like, what's going on? And then Carl now presents himself as this, he's an AI before, but now we know he's sentient. We know he has got his own agenda. And we see that the aquarium that the frog was in is broken and the water's running out and stuff like this. And then Carl injects Oliver, the main protagonist, with the serum, just like in the script. And he kind of collapses, and there's this effect of the thing that happens, and he's starting to kind of mutate and stuff. But then we see what happened to the aquarium when Carl's light shines over a little bit. There's this darkness, and then there's this giant toad in the shadow. And he looks at Oddfrog. I watched YouTube videos on like frogs eating stuff for like an hour to be able to draw this kind of correctly.
So, but in the beginning, like the way he turns into a frog is just by like touching them and injecting himself,
that's all
right?
it was.
Yeah,
it was kind
okay.
of easy peasy.
Yeah,
and I'm like, nah, we got to make this kind of more odd. It's got to be more odd. And so now I have him being devoured by this giant toad, and that's what I'm going to show right now. So long build up to what I'm about to show, but this is one of the pages.
So yeah, basically instead of just transforming like Spider-Man, instead of getting bit, he gets devoured by like a toad that has been mutated, and now it's like an enormous ass monstrous toad, big enough to eat a dude that's hiding in the dark.
And so here it is. And so we'll kind of zoom in here a little bit. We'll go through it a little bit. On the previous page, he's looking at Oliver, and at the last panel, we see his tongue come out and grab him. And then here,
do you guys see it? Because I don't know.
Do you see it, Mikey?
Yeah, there's just a black
screen. It says stop sharing right now. So let me look here. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go share screen. Yep. Okay, here we go. Do you see it?
Now it's out. Yep.
Okay. So what you've got is in the previous scene, we see this. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor.
Top left corner, yeah.
Yeah, we can see this giant toad kind of come into existence, and his tongue comes out and thwaps Oliver, and that's the previous scene. And then so now we see him, he's kind of being partially devoured. And here's where I'm talking about, guys, like I literally watched videos on frogs eating stuff.
Some of them stuff their face like that.
Just like that, dude, with their hands and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big ass toads, yeah.
So we can see, and you also see that Oliver's starting to melt away on his own too. Like he's already kind of decomposing or whatever. I show that his fingers melt together a little bit because honestly, I didn't want to draw 5 fingers in every scene. Yeah, so we got Ninja Turtle hands.
Oh yeah, badass, yeah.
But yeah, and then he basically gets munched down by this giant toad who's also been mutated. And then in the next scene, Carl again injects the toad, and they kind of all melt away, and I'll save that.
They turn into one? Or what happens?
Demolecularized, basically.
Good to go.
All right, so yeah, guys, that's the origin of the Oddfrog right there. His name is Oliver.
Well, that's how he starts to mutate. That's
how he becomes what he is.
Bro.
And they kind of dissipate after that. And next time we see him, he emerges as the Oddfrog out of a basically sewage dump in the back of the building. Like, kind of the classic scene where there's the pipe and the water, and then you see him emerge out of this thing, and then our hero is born. So it's really fun. I'm excited to be doing this character. I had been working on a graphic novel for a friend of mine for the last year, which kind of took me away from the stuff we were working on, even though it was really fun to do. So I'm really excited to be working on our story as for our the world we're creating. And it's slightly in the future. It's got a little bit of a cyberpunk element. Again, it's got like lots of things.
Cyberpunk, zombie.
Totally.
Skulls.
Yeah, and a different take on zombies, I would say. Wouldn't you say? Andy?
Oh, yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah. Not your classical dumb doofus. I guess he's not a zombie, because zombies are like...
No, he's a total zombie, but it's like...
Well, zombies are like brain dead, you know what I'm saying? He's not like a brain dead zombie.
Everything comes back because it's the serum that brings him back.
Yeah. And he's even better when he comes back than he was before he died.
Like on revenge too. It's not about work for hire anymore. It's about I'm going to get these guys now. And I'm kind of excited because so I'll just tell a quick little story here if you guys don't mind, but like when I first started at Mattel, I kind of had this panic moment where like I can't create anything. Like I can't go home and make characters. Everything you do is owned by them. And so I kind of was having this existential crisis. Yeah, not really. But like, I was like, creatively, I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I wanted to be here, but like, I know I'm not allowed to do anything when I get home. And so
because guys, by contract, like if you work for a big contract company, like a lot of the stuff you create while on contract, technically, yeah, it's their property, which is insane. Like you can work for Mattel and come up with a bunch of genius ideas, but if you write it down and draw it, and somehow they get a hold of it that it was between this period and this period,
Yeah.
and you were working for them, it's technically their property. Like it's
Look at
wild.
MGA, man. MGA is a classic case. Isaac Larian, he worked for Mattel and then he started his own thing and he was tied up in court for years over Bratz.
When it came out, like Bratz was like a Barbie, but it wasn't, but it was, but it wasn't,
Yeah.
and it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was like this real. I was torn. Like I wanted to be there
For sure.
It's the only place I wanted to work for as a toy company. Period. Like that's all I wanted to do, and I got my job before I even got out of college. So I was stoked. I was stoked to be there. But it's like again, I'm kind of a wild animal creatively. Like I don't want to. I couldn't share my ideas that I had already created with them because I knew that someday we were going to be doing this, and I wanted to keep those. So I told myself, like, okay, basically any new ideas I have will be theirs. That's fine. Anything while I'm working for them will be theirs. But I was like, I can't come home and create new characters. I can't write stories. And I was telling my manager about it, and I was really kind of bothered about it actually, because it's like as a creative person, all you really want to do is further your ideas. And so he took me to the supervisor guy, who was another great guy. Both these people, all the people at Mattel are amazing. Like they're great people.
So
he
name
takes
drop.
me to my supervisor, and he's like, "Look, Kelly, why don't we go talk to HR, and we'll just see if you're, they do make exceptions sometimes for people that are doing other stuff." Like I was in a band at the time. I was in a death metal band, and when they sent me my contract, it was augmented to talk about my band, where I had to say, they had to tell me and make sure that I knew in my contract that it was okay that I had this band and that I wrote music for the band and that was not to do with them and that's okay with them. I had to sign that. Like, so crazy.
Yeah. There was an asterisk about your band in your contract for like allowing you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I go to my supervisor, and he's like the nicest dude, and he takes me to the HR person, and they're like, at the time I wanted to write a sci-fi western, which someday I still will do, called Frontier, about a planet called Frontier, or no, called Promise. And they're like, well, Kelly, at the end of the day, if you want to do something like this, as long as it's an intellectual property that Mattel would have nothing to do with, you're probably okay. And so I'm like, oh, sweet. I will just make it absolutely hyper violent, blow people's heads off, have horrific things happen to characters. Okay, no problem. I'll do that.
So, HR was like, peace, take it away. Take it away, Kelly.
Don't associate with us with that at all. So, I want the Oddfrog comic to be an action adventure story with a little bit of a superhero thing. I mean, obviously, they're not really superheroes, but they are augmented by this serum, right? So I want all the stuff that I loved about those stories I read as a kid to be in it. It makes it fun for me to do. That being said, now that we're introducing Jones Bones, he's kind of also, Eddie, if you think about it, he could end up being like our Punisher character. And I think he's got to be violent. I think we have to have blood splattered all over the place.
He's always trying to wipe his skull with the blood off. So, you know what I'm saying?
I love that. It's his little thing.
Yeah.
That's great. That is great. And let me set the stage for you guys about how I think about how we introduce Jones Bones, right? He's the first thing in the next book is the Bandito. I introduce the Chop Shop, the Bandito, and Jones Bones all in one fell swoop, while Oddfrog is trying to escape an all points bulletin, so to speak. Excuse me. And he ends up in this industrial area in this chop shop, essentially, and he gets in this car. He pulls the cover off, and there's our Bandito. And he makes his great escape speeding around. And he's got some of the serum that he just escaped the building with. And it leaks into the trunk where our good friend Jones Bones has been assassinated by the very people that he worked for. And he gets reanimated by the serum. And he's he's pissed.
He comes. Ooh.
He's mad.
Mad, ready to make it happen.
Yep. So yeah, that's all going into the story. I can't wait to introduce the Bandito.
Yeah,
we'll
be
wait
showing.
To not draw it though. I don't want to draw the Bandito. Oh
cars.
My God, that seems like Oh.
I know who we can reach out just to. I know I have somebody in mind, a really good illustrator. He likes to do cars. He's actually working for Spin Master right now.
Really?
I'll reach out to him. Yeah.
Because you know what'd be awesome about that too, Eddie, is I would love to do like a variant cover for the first book even, and maybe. Like what would be cool to do is to hint at another artist doing some stuff in the next issue or something by having.
You know him, bro.
I do.
Yeah. Man, I just had a brain fart. I just had his name in my head. Oh my God.
By the way, I saw Robert the other day. That was cool.
Robert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At Otis.
Yeah.
Our good
oh my God. I just had his name.
I think it's funny, Eddie's sitting there petting an animal like a supervillain.
I am, yo, my brother's dog. So I'm here at my brother's place filming today, and it's
guys. It's hard to hear Mikey because we had a little bit of
talking about Jones
Boone difficulties, and he can't use his mic right now. So he said,
I'm sure it'll even out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
I was just gonna say we've looked at some. We've done a little bit of research on some toys that we wanted to present.
Hey, let's talk toys. I was gonna say, moving along.
Yeah,
we've talked enough Oddfrog and Chop Chop.
Show some stuff, Mikey. You found some stuff that we should probably start with. That's interesting, and you want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, I would, but since my mic isn't doing so good, then I'll bring that stuff up next time. Let's just talk about your stuff for now.
Cool. Oh, Kelly, I'm talking. The guy who I was talking about, Richie Gov.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
who also is an excellent sculptor and game
the designer. Yeah, real
theorist.
Good concept, game theory. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So
actually, I was just looking at his stuff in a cabinet at Otis the other day because I'm deep in our articulation right now for our character.
Yeah,
and if you look at Richie's stuff, like he's got it all wired. Everything's.
Oh yeah, he's real meticulous. He took a long time. He was probably
you introduced me to him, Eddie, at the
his graduation, the reunion.
Show,
yeah. But I think he's at Spin Master. I think he's working for Hot Wheels right now, designing cars, man, and drawing cars. Yeah, same thing. Saying he hated he hated drawing cars during our tenure, during our time at Otis.
Yeah,
like nobody really liked vehicles. It's so funny, and I'm like, here I am, we're designing muscle cars and vehicles, and it's like, yo, I love it. I fucking love cars, dude. Like,
bro, it's the same thing. Like, our final at Otis was a Hot Wheels project, and we actually, I thought we created something really cool. It was me and two of my fellow students at Otis.
That was your sponsored project, was by Hot Wheels.
Yeah, and Mattel came, and the winner got like the chance to have their thing actually be produced by Mattel and stuff like that. Ours was a little too complicated, but it was really a cool idea. I could probably share it. I still have a lot of video of it actually. But what would happen was you'd have
guys, quick background. So like every year, I think the senior class at Otis. A company comes and they sponsor a project, and so you design concepts and designs for companies. Our year we designed for Kinder Surprise Eggs, so we had requirements where we had to design toys that fit inside that little yellow orange sphere and inside the half size. So we had, because in America you can only get the ones that are half size, and everybody in the world you can get the ones that are so our sponsor project was Kinder Surprise Eggs. I have various concepts drawn for Kinder. Kelly he's just talking about they had Hot Wheels one. So yeah, keep going.
So yeah, what we did was we had this idea where you could have this audio reaction to your Hot Wheels going around the track. So you could have music. There was a point system. So like if you were racing, if you landed on beats and stuff like this, you could have music. And so what would happen, and I still have video of this, the whole presentation where we showed how it would work. And I should share that actually because it's pretty cool. But you would have a car go around a corner and it would trigger an audio effect like room or music or it would change.
Oh, like on the track. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
The track.
Right. Okay, I get you now.
Trigger an RF ID chip in there.
The car would trigger a chip on the track, and then it would
and
something
you would unlock
happen.
different sounds and stuff the more
Yeah.
you played. If you got so many miles on your thing or whatever,
That's
Hot
pretty
Wheels miles,
cool, yeah.
you would unlock certain sound effects, and you could download things. And it was a cool idea, but it was like what they said to us, what Mattel said to us as feedback in our presentation was that like you have to. And this is where we are as a company too, right, Eddie? Like we're a little unrealistic, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mattel was like, you got to think more realistic. No, the cost.
Yeah, we're over here. Yeah, we're over here trying to design this stuff when we should be like, let's start here.
Like, simplify.
Yeah.
And,
instead of a FRD chip, it's a button that the car runs over and it just goes and a strand, you know, simple sound.
It's totally you could have done that, right?
It's the same,
like,
for sure.
Yeah. And they had concepts. I don't know if this stuff ever came out, but like right around the time I think when the Four Horsemen were working on He-Man, they had RFID chips in He-Mans that would react to different places on Castle Grayskull where you put them. And then actually their WWE stuff had like Trash Talk RFID. And I'm all about that, man. We got to have that in our toys.
WWE.
Because like maybe we haven't even thought of what we want to do with it yet when it comes out. And if you have that chip in there, you can
apply it to it, yeah. Have it in, yeah. Or you can just have a slot in for it next, you know what I'm saying? Just whatever, your toys already have a slot for that chip. You just buy your chip and boom, boom, boom. Yep. Anyways, Toy Talk, what would you got, Mikey?
So, Kelly, I do have that Starbird images ready.
Yeah, I want to look at this. So I have some friends in town. And I'm just like, hey, man, let's talk toys. Like, what was your favorite toy as a kid? And he's like, I don't know, probably G.I. Joe or whatever. And he's like, but I remember this toy. I don't know what it is. And we found it. We found two of them. And this is the first one. And I was kind of amazed to find out that this is kind of technically a G.I. Joe. But it's called...
it's like the first Joe?
It's called Atomic Action Man Mike. And, I mean, there's all sorts of things going wrong with this character. If you look at his head, like that does not belong on that body. I mean, if you look at him without the shirt, it's it's like bad. It's really bad. But I love
Go back.
Wait, Mikey, go back real quick. This is a different toy. I love the leg. I love that they did this clear
He's about
mold.
7 head. He's about 7 heads, I think. Maybe might be about 6.5.
That
right, the neck is neck is thick.
And he's got thyroid cancer or something.
oh man!
But he's cool. I love the and my friend who had this, who's visiting here, Justin. He pointed out like, how does he have a biological foot at the end
on the robotic leg?
On the robotic leg, which I thought was great.
Technology, man.
There's a couple things going on here that I do like, which is the clear
soft
aspect
goods
and seeing the inside. The soft goods I like, and then look at the joints. The joints are typically like they're basically
those look to be almost
today, but old. Yeah.
Yeah, I say they kind of almost look like BJD joints though, like they're held to ball jointed, like it might be wires or maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I noticed too when I was looking at the Rebel Tech stuff, they have ball joints in their.
Okay, maybe not. They're just like
And I kind of.
Well, you can see the pin in the wrist. Yeah, you can see the pins in the wrist and the ankles. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few figures like this when I was a kid.
A stock head on mostly a stock body, and then
change an arm and a leg. I mean, yeah.
All they really paid for in the tooling was the leg and the arm.
Their budget ran out right here.
And the head, yeah.
Exactly.
I had one like this, like a couple of them. Me and my brother had one. I think they were called like Action Man. I remember mine had like a red ninja suit, and his was a scuba diver. I should try to find those. You know what I'm saying? Keep talking though.
The interesting thing about this is. What we found was it's done by Milton Bradley, but then it's also done by Hasbro at some point. So I'm wondering if Hasbro purchased Milton Bradley or whatever, because the one my friend had was stamped with G.I. Joe on it.
Oh, there it is.
So it's he's technically kind of a G.I. Joe. And Eddie, this begs the question: could we approach Hasbro to do the first 112 third party Atomic Action Man that's kind of technically part of G.I. Joe if you look at the stamp on his butt.
So come up with a new design, approach him, and be like,
Well,
yo.
look, everybody's vying to do G.I. Joe stuff. And you've got like your Super 7 who does bigger scale. At Mattel, this was the same thing. Like you're always vying for like whatever somebody's not doing in a scale. Mm-hmm. What if we pitched to Hasbro
12-inch G.I. Joes, huh?
As a G.I. Joe.
And I think if we come up with a badass 12-inch, I mean, right? 12-inch scale. I mean, 12-inch. Yeah, 12 inches is kind
scale. Or 112 scale.
1/6. That'd be 1/6. Oh, 112 scale.
No, we do it in 112 for our community. But we reintroduced this character as a G.I. Joe.
As a Joe. Oh, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. I mean, technically, he's kind of a Joe.
Right, so come up with a design and be like, since Hasbro does have the Joe line, be like, yo, y'all should come up with this guy. We have a design ready to pop. You
got some cool characters, but you release some dumb characters too. And I'm like, how do we tie this guy back into the G.I. Joe world? Because he's not from that originally, but at some point he is stamped with G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a very good way of making a name somewhere there and be like, yo.
And
brought to you by
McFarlane. Come on.
McFarlane. Thank you.
Come on, Mikey. I know you're going to throw it at me. He always said, take the character no one's doing and make that look as best as you can, right? That would be an interesting kind of way to approach us doing contract work for licensed products, which I would love to do a Turtle Man. I think we just need to design a Turtle Man and send it out to him. Be like, we want to do this. Give us money.
Yo, see what I'm saying? They do. I don't get it. Like back in the days, they made these 12-inch figures. Like if you can go like Action Man Scuba Dive back in like '93, man. I had one. It's like a 12-inch figure. Came with accessories, soft goods. Like let me share this right quick.
Yeah, share it, Eddie.
I don't know how is it like how it was. I guess back in the days, it's just done cheaper.
Well, and they manufactured stuff here too, so you didn't have all the shipping.
Like this is the one my brother had. These things were badass. Look, they had flocked.
That's awesome.
They had flocked hair.
That looks like a '90s one, though.
This is 93, bro.
Okay. Yeah, because
he had that one, and I had this one. Look.
He has these original G.I. Joes from back in the day that are 12-inch.
This is the one I had. This one was pretty. I like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going for that kind of Mego.
Yeah, the Mego style, but they had the bodies were soft bodies though, like. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean.
Well, you got to imagine that somebody overseas has that buck body of that kind of thing, and it's so not used anymore that if you were kind of the niche company that is like, hey, let's grab that buck body you already use and stick different heads on it, it's kind of an affordable.
That's one way of I think a lot of people try to do that way, like coming, if I guess that's what buck bodies are essentially for. Companies do it, like if you approach a company with a nice buck body and be like, yo, I want to build a character on your buck body, buy the buck body in bulk, and maybe that company is able to provide soft goods. That's.
Look at that head. I'm never gonna not be able to see the thyroid cancer in the neck in that head, and it's like, hey, let's
look. He has a drone though. Look, he's on like a handheld drone. That's kind of cool.
Forward thinking.
Yeah, little miniature handheld drone. It's like a handheld helicopter. You know what I'm saying? It's like. That's pretty dope.
It's very Inspector Gadget.
For sure.
Yeah.
Those are kind of cool.
That's cool. All right, let's talk about the next ones, Mikey, because these I found to be really interesting. The tech in them is like, if you guys remember, of course you guys remember like laser tag, where it was like light
hitting a receiver or something.
Yes, exactly.
Cyber command base.
So these toys right here, this is the command base, which is just freaking awesome. It kind of blows my mind. My friend Justin, who is in town, like this is a toy he had. The plane you see, the spaceship or whatever down here that you see is the toy he had. and then just me and him talking about it led to
So
this
it was
whole
sold
kind of
separately.
discovery of the set. Yes, it was sold separately. It's by Milton Bradley, and
I remember a lot of Milton Bradley. Milton Bradley, yeah.
the tech in this is really cool. And Eddie, here's the interesting thing about this: it's modular. So like the head of the spaceship breaks off, the rocket part of the engine comes out, and you can reattach it. And then the head actually pulls off, and there's another thing inside that is like the inside capsule. So I'm looking at this thing like, this is what me and Eddie are trying to do.
Like conceptual wise, yeah, it's like the kind of
the
where we were at.
stuff
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
kind of multiple usage.
The
kind of thing.
modularity and the
Yeah.
various usage of the combinations to create different things. Yeah, definitely what we're geared towards, what the whole Chop Shop is based off right now is, or even just Oddfrog Entertainment, the toy aspect, the 112 scale, the world we're trying to create is definitely more of a modular world, the old school world where we're trying. I, as a kid, played as that boy did there. Like, I would sit down in front of, on the ground, outside in my backyard with rocks, and I'd create stories. And I don't know, that's maybe not as an adult would I do that, no, but what I would do was get those same figures, set them up the same way, and now I'm taking pictures though, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what a lot of the people in our community do, and they do now, that's what happens, they buy these figures, they set them up, we have dioramas, just like the garage we've been working on, and that's more the people who we're gearing our products towards, our people our age, people who are in the community who have the ability to spend a little on certain things, and I don't know, like, yeah,
and
I'm
we're
going
kind
on
of
a
the
tangent.
last great toy generation where we used our imagination to play.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like I've told this story a lot of times to just like my friends and stuff, but it's like when it got, first of all, none of my friends back in the day played right. I felt like you can't do that with G.I. Joe. This is serious, like don't mess around. And
Joes don't play like that. Joes don't play
Joes
that
don't play
game
like that.
Yeah.
Don't be doing that. And there comes a time where like it's not cool anymore or whatever, and I was just like, oh man,
I was the same way. I remember taking my Spider-Man to school in my pocket, and then at a certain point was like, Spider-Man just kind of stayed in my pocket, and Spider-Man, he stopped coming to school with me, and I was like, man, because nobody else brought their figures.
Well,
so.
And what happened for me was I found comic books right around that time, and that allowed me, I think, to like continue that play pattern in my head. It's like, oh, here's these stories, here's this cool art, like, oh, this is way better than baseball cards, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But then I think, Eddie, you and I live in a really rare kind of situation where we went back to school for product design that has a focus on toys, and it's like, I mean, I don't know about you, but everybody in my family is like, oh yeah, that's Peter Pan over there. He makes toys,
I don't. Well, see, you had so far good. You had success. You had time in Mattel. You've done it. Like, to me, I just feel like I'm a toy. I'm still like, I haven't. I don't know. I don't feel as I'm a toy designer.
Totally wrong. I think you are building the greatest portfolio that is
I guess I see it as building a portfolio. Yeah, I see it that way. But as
building a portfolio,
right,
bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to like call myself a toy designer, I don't know. Yeah.
And say we want to do this with all the pieces at this price.
I guess you see, as a company, it's been on paper, like you said. I mean, we're legit. You know what I'm saying? Product degrees, and I've worked freelance for Spin Master. You work for I mean, I don't know. I don't know, bro. It just I know. Like, no, not even that. Not just this Mattel part. Just some. I don't know. I just sometimes bro.
Well, and I mean, on the other end of that, I feel like I got the luckiest thing in a business partner who is as creative as you are in what you do. Like when we first met, guys, Eddie and I met back in El Camino, which is the local community college here. Before we went to art school, we were just taking art classes. And I wanted to do like storyboarding because I thought that would be like, we live here in LA. It's like I could get storyboard work drawing.
Yeah, drawing.
And but I was like, oh, I can double major if I take sculpting because it all lines up with illustration, what I want to do, and it's just 3 extra classes. So I took this sculpting class, and that's where me and Eddie met. and our final had to be this thing that was from our own imagination and stuff. And Eddie did this thing. Do you still have it? I know you
Well,
have
yeah,
copies of it and it's kind of beat up.
it was kind. I have,
But it's like
yeah,
this
it's kind of
Aztec
broken.
warrior thing.
Yeah, so we had to come up with a concept or find a concept that we liked, some sort of idea. And I found this image on, I think it was like on DeviantArt, of this like Aztec warrior just kind of crouched down with this eagle headdress. And like Kelly said, we met in a sculpture class. The only reason I was even in an art class was because I was trying to take these classes to become actually a respiratory therapist. And
That's right.
I couldn't get into the science classes, and I was taking all these prerequisites. I was taking English and this and math, and I was
he
like,
was so talented, you guys. Like, I'm probably part of the problem because I'm like, no, dude, forget all that. You got to be in art. Like,
I mean, Russ did too. Russ, our professor, was like,
Yeah.
you need to pursue something in
Yeah.
art, and then yeah. But anyways, we had to find a character, find a drawing, and then replicate that drawing in 3D, and that's what Kelly's talking about right now. Yeah.
And what occurred to me when I saw his work, because me and Eddie don't know each other at this time. I've never seen his work before except through the class where we do all these exercises, which were really fun, by the way.
So the reason why it's the final project in the class,
Yeah.
but I'm an intro. I don't talk to people. I'm an introvert. Kelly kind of the same way, and it's like approaching the end of the semester, and like I'm sitting in the front, he's sitting in the back. He's this big ass dude, always wearing dark. I don't know. I don't like. You know what I'm saying? I don't approach people that much, but I knew there was some shit about his work. And he would tell you. Towards the end of the class, I was like, if I don't like introduce myself to this dude, I know I'm gonna regret it. And now this guy's like my best friend and business partner. But yeah, we were working on these projects, and yeah.
Well, exactly. I remember it exactly the same way. And what I remember seeing about your work, bro, is that like you
I
just
have images,
executed
man.
what was in your head. Like you can tell when people have a vision and they can 3-dimensionally turn things around as an idea in their mind, and then
Yeah.
not everybody can execute that. But I looked at your work and I was like, oh man, like this guy can turn things around in his head. He sees 3-dimensionally, and he's like Eddie's a fantastic sculptor, guys. Like
I'm all right.
I feel like the double whammy of what we've got going on, Eddie, is I'm a fairly good sculptor too. But like my skill is in illustration and you are the sculptor. And like we have this, like if I send Eddie something, I know it's going to be executed like to the degree that like it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like that's just the thing. So yeah, salute, bro. Salute.
Maybe
Coming up on 2 years in business now.
Yeah.
I think we became a
On two.
corporation
Croak.
at the end of 2021. So like December.
Right when I was
2021.
graduating, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Class of 2021.
So what do we got, guys? Is that
Thank you,
basically
McFarlane.
it?
Is that it? We done today?
I think
Chop
we
Shop
might be
Talk?
done. We've been on here a while.
For sure.
We lost Mikey's mic along the way, so we're going to save that for next time. Oh, and we wanted to talk about the Barbie movie. Should we do that real quick?
Next time.
Yeah,
Next time. The
I'll
Barbie
just
movie.
say that
I haven't seen it, so maybe if we
I
watch it,
haven't
we can
seen
talk
either.
about it.
My daughter saw it; she loves it.
So
I
maybe
think,
we'll
like,
watch it and talk about it, and just as an
maybe
opinion
that's a good
piece.
idea.
Yeah.
Look, I want to talk about it because
Since it's toy related.
It's toy related. I worked for Mattel. I was in on Barbie brainstorms and stuff. One of the things that was great about my last manager there, who we didn't really see eye to eye all the time,
Mhm.
but she liked my brainstorming stuff. So I got to sit in on Jurassic World, He-Man. I always got to brainstorm with.
They
these
just had the failed
teams.
fundraiser for the Jurassic gates. They tried to kick fun start Jurassic Park gates. I think in like, one like for figures 3 3/4 inch, and they didn't fund. And now somebody else is trying to do it. Guess who? Ha! No, I won't say. There's a company trying to make something just like that.
Oh, is it a company that makes stuff just like everything?
Just like every other stuff, and they're kind of,
yeah.
they
Okay.
kind of try to produce things that have failed, but more power to them. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
maybe we'll watch that. We'll watch the Barbie movie, have an opinion piece, give us something to talk
Yeah,
about.
I want
Who
to talk
knows?
about it because it also has this whole political bent, right? Like,
Does it?
it seems to be like
politics and all. Oh my
yeah,
god.
And I want to go there and like not think about that stuff at all. I will say this: I am super happy for Mattel that they had a win like this and that it is a success like it is because I like the CEO of Mattel a lot. Actually, he's the same one that was there when I was there. And he's just an impressive guy. I think he wants to do right by the company. And
we'll leave it at that.
Their COO left.
Oh yeah?
I never particularly cared for him. So like that's a whole other story itself. But I'm glad Barbie's a success.
It has been for years.
I want to see it, I guess, to talk more about it. Obviously, my kid loves it, but like, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see.
I was at work the other day. I work at Delamo Mall, right? Delamo Mall. There's a theater right there. There was a group of women all dressed in pink. I'm like, go figure. They're about to go watch the Barbie movie. It's funny, you see, like.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's like a cult following kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Barbie. I mean, they're probably our age. They grew up with Barbie. Barbie's been around since the 70s, 60s, whenever she was, first. Anyways, nice chopping it up, fellas.
There's the music. I can hear it in my head, Mike.
Yep. I started. Roll it, Mikey. Again, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Yeah, that was a little bit of what's going on with Oddfrog Entertainment, the Chop Shop. We got some stuff coming up. Look out for more sculpts, more designs, more drawings. Yeah, we're working on these concept action figures. We'll show some of the. I mean, I guess we can show some of the rough designs. We're not a big company yet, so it's me and Kelly sculpting. We'll show you our work, and yeah, keep you guys posted.
We love you guys. Please like and subscribe. It helps us out. I think we have 302 subscribers right now. That kind of blows my mind. I know it doesn't sound big to people, but like for us, it's huge. We so appreciate you guys. We love the feedback. And yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Ow.
Thank you for tuning in to the Oddfrog Chop Shop podcast. This episode is brought to you by MLCVoice.com and OddfrogEntertainment.com. Theme music is Burlesque Heartache by RKVC. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Until next time, keep creating and keep playing.